1.
Door Guys Podcast. This is Davis.
And Vinny.
This is Sean.
I'm Tyler.
And today our special guest is the legendary comedian, Willie Farrell.
Hi, everybody. How are we doing?
Hi, Willie.
I was just rocking to that music. Is that what you kids do? You rock to the
yeah.
music? All right. Who is that we just heard?
That's a local band called Narcotic Self that one of their bassists made these riffs for me.
Oh, that's very
for,
cool. I mean,
intro
that's,
and outro.
I thought it was one of you like ACD. I don't know who that is.
You looked at me like the kid, and I had no clue who they were.
Yeah. If you're going to ask us for music, I got Sinatra, and you've got some hillbilly. I'm sure. I don't know exactly what you're listening to.
Well, you are probably the best dressed comedian I've seen at the Funny Bone.
That's what I always say.
yeah.
If you can't be funny, look good. You know, a lot of people, if you talk to them after the show about the show, they'll say, well, what about Willie Farrell? He had on a wonderful suit, nice shoes. What about the jokes? Oh, he had on a tie that was just fun. No, they never talk about my act, but they always remember that, when I look good. So that's
well,
good
when
enough
you
for
got
me.
here tonight, Colleen was bringing out old pics, and you picked one up, and you said, I don't even remember my face from this, but that suit, that's my Armani suit. I miss that suit.
He was just telling me about that suit.
The funny thing about it is today we were in town, me and my wife, and I have a belt that I've had for like 25, 30 years. And I couldn't find it, and I was just pissed off. I mean, I was like, so she took me downtown and got me a real nice belt at the old market. And it's funny. So Colin showed me his picture. Fucking belt's on the picture. I mean, and it was like seeing a dead relative. I mean, I'm like, my wife actually says, "Are you crying?"
Teared up a little bit.
I said, a little bit, tearing up a little bit. I didn't even. Can I say fuck? Because I kind of wrecked that Todd and Tyler show today.
Yeah, we're like Todd and Tyler, except that you can swear, and we don't have nowhere near as many listeners.
Okay. Well, you give one, you take one.
That's right.
That's what you do. That's right.
What was your chosen word?
I said shit.
He said
today.
shit.
Because we were talking. I don't know what we were talking about. Just the kids of the day.
You see, you ain't got time for that shit.
Yeah. Well, it's what the kids now. You have to ask them if they're he or she or they. Or
Yeah,
who
that's
or
what it was.
You can say.
And I'm fine with that. Don't get me wrong. I don't want anybody coming after me. Whatever you want to be, but I don't have time. I'm old. I don't have time. Just be something. Tell me what you are. Don't make me guess. I don't want to guess what you are. Whatever the pronoun or. Just be Kevin or be Kelly. Just be something.
Well, you can be a he on here and say fucking cunt.
All right. Wow, cunt. Way to go. Give me a pound on that. This early in the show, we went right to the C word. That's, you know what? We're on a roll now.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're door guys. We don't give a shit.
I'm just showing you the sky's the limit, baby.
Thank you, baby. I appreciate that.
I was unaware that you couldn't say shit on the radio. Can't you say ass on like TV and radio?
I thought Todd and Tyler would be the show you could say shit on.
Well, they're in the new
say
building, so apparently that's new people that they have to.
Oh, gotcha.
Well, they just recently, I heard Nick say it the other day. He said the word asshole.
Oh.
Like they never said asshole. They would always say ass hat.
Uh-huh.
Or they would say a-hole.
Isn't that crazy how you
they
have
could say
to,
ass, they could say hole, but they couldn't say asshole.
Wow.
Weird
That's
that you
stupid
can
shit.
say ass but not hole.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, you
I
can
would
say
think
stuff,
they
but you
go.
can't say-
Could you say like, this guy's a hole? Can you do that?
Probably. Yeah,
Or this
yeah.
guy's an ass. You can do
Yep,
that.
Yep. Or this guy's an ass hat.
An ass hat.
Yeah, that
That's
was their
fine.
word for a while.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right.
but not asshole.
Not asshole.
Yeah. And then I heard Nick say it, and I was like, oh, weird.
But on this show, you can say asshole cunt.
Oh, yeah.
You know what? Can I be honest with him? I've been doing comedy 40 years. I've never used the C word before. You brought out a whole new. That might be my new word now. That's what scares me. And now I don't think I can turn it off.
And I like to try to claim the mantra of a clean comedian.
Yeah.
So when I'm on here,
Yeah.
this is where I'm just like,
Well, that's
Gets
like
it out.
letting it fly.
I do so much corporate all the time that people wonder. When I do a comedy club, I start dropping F-bombs all the time. They say, what? I say, I'm like a pit bull chained to a fence. And it's like I break the fence, and I go out and I try to bite everybody. So, I mean, I do so many corporate, like I'll do 10 corporates in a row where, gosh darn it, and shucks darn it. And then I get on the comedy stage, and I just, fuck! Just for no reason, yell it out. So.
And I get similar where people will see me in a bar
Yeah.
or something, and I'll be dirty. And I thought you were only clean.
Yeah,
Well,
okay.
no,
Yeah.
I am dirty. I just I know which hand to bite.
It's also what people try to hire me for corporate, and like people say, "Well, we look at one of your things on Facebook, and you seem to be there." I said, "So you don't think I cannot say fuck? You think I have Tourette's that I can't not? You know, I mean, it's stupid, but." Them cunts.
Because you
never said the word that much in my life. Can't wait to show this to my father.
Tyler's a bad influence.
91.
We'll just tell him to skip past the first 10 minutes.
These guys are who I was a nice boy before I started hanging out with the door guys.
Door guys are bringing out the bad news.
Started telling bad jokes.
That's right.
I mean, he's kind of right.
That's right.
Now I'm like, oh, you can say these things at a comedy club? Not get canceled?
Next thing you know, you're doing lines off a tranny's ass. That's what happens. It just gets nuts, completely off the rails. Or you do rails off a tranny's ass.
That's May 5th.
Are they trannies anymore? Are they? See, now once again, the pronouns, are they them, thou, who, what are they then?
I don't know if you're supposed to say tranny, but I
you know what?
do.
Maybe that word's gone now. I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not sure what they are.
I think they're like trans.
I just call them whatchamacallits.
You know what? That's worked for me my whole life. That's that involves with people's sexual whatever they are, and also any kind of tool in the garage. Yeah. I never know what anything is. Everything's a whatchamacallit. Seems to work.
You do a lot of corporate gigs, and I know Christmas time, Colleen's always like, "Oh, I got Willie coming in to do this corporate, and I got Willie going over here for this corporate," and so
that's my bread and butter, and it's been for a long, long time, and I love it. I mean, the things, don't get me wrong, I like comedy clubs, but comedy clubs, you know, you got two other acts. No offense to the other acts, but you got to watch what they're doing. Afterwards, people are saying, "Oh, they liked him better," or that. Where corporate, you go in there, you're the only guy. They don't know if you're good or not. Yeah, I know I'm not good. So that's the good thing but they don't know that. So you know, and they give you a cocktail beforehand. Then afterwards, you do the show, and then you go up in your room and you bring your, your chicken de Burgo, whatever they give you, the chicken Kiev that you cut it and the shit comes out of it. And sit up in your room.
And if you do have an opener at a corporate, like the last time I worked with you,
the Lincoln Country Club,
he can do a set during the buffet time.
Yes, right.
When everybody's getting their food.
They sat
so
on
then it's just perfect.
Yeah. They said, "So how are you going to do this?" I said, "Well, what?" I said, "Well, Tyler will be fine while you're going through the buffet line."
Yeah, make this kid do it while you're putting a potato in your mouth.
And then when everybody's full, then I will come on stage and eat it up. We still had fun.
That was a great time. And then we saw each other in Vegas the very next week.
And then you kicked ass.
Oh, really?
He went and did the comedy challenge in Vegas, and he was rolling. He was doing good.
Yeah, he talked about that.
Very proud of my. Actually, I don't usually do this, but I actually went to the show when he did the showcase.
Really?
And yeah, he did great.
What were you doing out in Vegas?
I was working the club. I was actually it was my home club there out there, the LA Comedy Store, and Tyler came out and kicked it.
One thing I've always liked about you is when I started in Des Moines.
Yeah.
You know how working comics are. There's some that just, and it's nothing on anybody, but you've always paid attention to the amateurs.
Yes.
You'll see you at Mike's, you'll see you, and for us starting, we'd be like, holy shit, Willie Farrell's here. You would just go hang out like a person and
I tell you why,
watch stuff.
I need it. I mean, sometimes, don't get me wrong. I love my family. I love my wife and stuff, but I will sit home sometimes and something will come on TV and I'll say something and my wife's like, well, that's just rude. Or, you can't say that anymore. And I think I got to get out. And so I go with young guys like Tyler and you listen to them and you watch them do their act and they light a fire under you. You know what I mean? And I need it as much as you like me doing it. I enjoy it.
So your wife doesn't let you say tranny?
No, she does. No, you know what? No, exactly. She'd be like, I don't think you can say that anymore.
Or fucking cunt.
No, yeah. Well, she keeps on saying, quit calling me that. Yeah.
You mentioned Vegas. You were out there for a long time, right?
Yeah.
You did like almost like a residency.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, they wanted me to have a residency back in the early 2000s. They came out to me and I worked out there for quite a while and they said, do you want to have your own room? And at the time my daughter was like 5 or 6 and I said, I don't think I want to do this. So I passed on it and they gave it to a guy named Willie Farrell.
Oh yeah.
And Vinny killed it for a long time. And when he would take a break, I would actually work the room for him. But I mean, he was making huge money. And I would go out there and he would say, hey, this is supposed to be, it was kind of pissing me off. Because he was making big money and I'm still out there kicking it. And I always said, well, I did the better thing. I stayed with, and then Vinny eventually fucked it up. He got into drugs and gambling, and they chased him out of town. But I mean, the old thing in life where you say the things I could have done, and I look at it, and okay, maybe that would have been good. But on the other hand, my kid grew up the way I wanted her to. She did all the things. She became a great athlete, great kid, and at this point, look, I'm here right now. So obviously, nothing really went wrong.
Yeah, great softball player, right?
Yeah, she was a 4-time All-American, and now she is the assistant coach for her college team, and she's the head coach for her old high school team. Wow. And she's also a pitching coach, and she has like 70 kids, and she bought a house 3 blocks from me and my wife, and
nice.
Awesome. She's an only child, so I mean, knock on wood, things are good. I can't.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch the stuff that you post on Facebook of her as she's been growing up and getting into softball and going up to those next levels.
And we have fun. We get in the car and we do like karaoke together and we lip sync songs and and she's got a boyfriend that we like a lot, and so no complaints. None.
So
awesome.
I don't mean to hold this, but so it's karaoke or karaoke? Because I always hear no. I want to know.
What an asshole!
No, I want to know because it's always older gentlemen that I hear say karaoke, and I want to know if that's the right way.
I don't fucking know. What is it?
It might be karaoke.
I've always heard karaoke. I've always
karaoke.
Heard that.
But
that's all I've heard.
But I've heard I hear a lot of older people say karaoke, and I don't think they're saying it just because they're old.
There's a lot of words. Is it cunningness? What is it? Cunning linguist.
The only reason
I said, what's your fantasy? I want to give a cunning linguist while they're singing karaoke. I don't know.
There was a rodeo announcer I always used to work with that always said karaoke. And I always wondered what was...
let's go back to what you said. He's a rodeo announcer. He's lucky he could pronounce his own fucking name. All right, let alone. That's right.
Well, Willie, you even have in your set some of your material about mispronouncing, towns and stuff like that, and that's a great bit as well.
I don't. I mean, I'm not very educated, and I don't give a fuck. I'm stupid. Don't care. My wife's very smart, and that's all we need. We need one smart person that taught my daughter shit, and that's it.
Yeah.
I taught her how to pitch, but
you were there for the softball.
Yeah, when she was a kid, she started pitching, and back when they're little kids, you teach them. What you do is there's actually a community of dads called bucket dads, where you would sit on a bucket and your daughter would pitch to you, and they were the bucket dads, and we'd get together, and they were very nice guys. We're the bucket dads, and I finally came one day and I said, we're going to have to change the name to the fuck it dads, because I would sit there and say, come on, honey, oh fuck it, have to chase it down the street. So I was the fuck it dad. So, yeah.
Yeah, my daughter plays softball.
Oh, does she really?
Yeah, she's in Little League.
How old?
12.
Okay, what position?
So at this one, they're still kind of move them around and stuff. Usually she'll end up in, they just had her first game, and so she was in right field.
Yeah.
But then usually they'll move her to shortstop. Sometimes second base.
It gets addicted, doesn't it? I mean, it's so funny because when Claudia was little, the only child, and I wanted her to be a little boy, which I think I eventually turned her into. But but you would go to these tournaments, and I don't want to fucking stop. I don't want to do this. And when you go, then after a while, you'll have all the dads around, like the brackets, and you're trying to figure out who they're going to play next. And we would go scout the other team. 10-year-old girls who were over there. Well, I got a good shortstop, and we're trying to tell the coach. He's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just my ex-wife made me do this. They coached it. Yeah.
Were you nice to umpires?
Oh yeah. You know what? I've always learned that. You never. And when my daughter played and when she pitched, I always made it a point to stay out in the outfield.
Yep.
I would never stay in there because, first of all, because my wife would tell me, get in the outfield, get away from your daughter, you're killing her.
I was a little league ump in high school.
Were you really?
It was awful.
You look like the kind of guy that I would. Oh, yeah. You suck.
I literally one time my dad was the head football coach of my 1,000-person town. Like everybody knew him.
Wow.
All that. Well, that just sets I made the worst call ever in the minor tournament.
Yeah.
And I mean, people were trying to run me out of town. Yeah. Parents were running to the fence. My call got overturned by the plate. What? It was that bad.
What?
Like, my dad was always like, never overturn a call ever. And then afterwards, he's like, yeah, they should overturn that call.
They actually had to come out and do like the Lou Gehrig thing. This was the worst call in the history of the game.
I mean, I used to hear at the grocery store all the time on Saturdays, like, your dad's a dumb shit from other people. And instead it was like, your kid's a dumb shit.
Yeah.
I feel like you were a terrible ump.
I made one epically bad call.
Were you a decent player? What would you play in high school?
In high school I played football, and that was what I did all for.
Yeah, okay.
I played baseball until I got to high school.
Yeah, all right.
I was always a first baseman, lefty.
First baseman. Yeah, there's certain positions. You get over there and just try to knock shit down.
Hey, you got to catch good if you.
I was launched. My son was a pitcher in Little League.
Yeah.
He's a senior now, not playing anymore, and I was launched from one of his games because every time he pitched, I would try to stay in the outfield most of the time. But when he pitched, I would try to sit right behind home plate.
Oh, that's the worst thing you could possibly
do. And this guy was terrible at calling balls and strikes, and I wasn't being loud about it, but he could hear me being like, not again. And then he turned around and launched me, and then I freaked out, and I was like, well, you're not throwing me out of here until I call you a piece of shit. I went to my car.
My daughter's playing for Grandview, which is an NAIA school, but they're a very good school. And Claudia's senior year, we were down in Central Methodist playing down in Missouri, and it was a very good team. And I for some reason, me and my wife got there early, and I found a bar, and I had a couple drinks, so I'm kind of liquored up. And I'm out now. I feel like I normally am. But during the game, somehow I kind of wandered up by the dugout, and one of the umpires made a horrible call, and I'm just drunk, and I just looked at him and I went, that was the worst call ever. And he looks over, and I kind of duck down, and he thinks it's the coach.
Oh, shit.
He boots the coach. Oh. Now, it's the Grandview boys, and the boys are playing also, so the boys are playing the other field, and the coach he's never been kicked out of the game. So now he's gone. He's over watching the boys play. He's just sitting in the back of a truck. And I come over, and he looks at me, and he said, dude, sorry. It's me. So, yeah. Worst call ever.
Did you play anything? Were you an athlete?
I played baseball and basketball. I was actually a pretty good basketball player, which I like Richard Reese's little thing, the documentary did about that. Yeah, doing that. I was that kid. I was like a gym rat for a long time. But I love sports. I mean, that completely occupies my entire. Cubs, I fucking hate them. I love them. I hate them. It's like my wife. I mean, it's just one of them deals. Or sometimes I can't get enough of them. Sometimes I want to kill them in their sleep.
Do you Iowa Cub it up at all?
Yeah, I go to all that Cubs game during the day. I hang out there. I love it. Yeah, to me, it's great. I mean, now you're a rodeo guy though.
I just did that to get away from sports.
Okay.
My dad was my head football coach and wrestling coach. I wanted nothing to do with sports by the time I got out of high school.
It's so funny because when I first met you, I used to hang around with these older Italian guys that are just brutal. I mean, everybody just asks me where I get my sense of humor. It's from, as you grow up, you have older guys that just would never cut you any slack ever. And there was this old guy named PJ. We called him Buffalo because he was a big guy. And I would always say, Buff, you got to come to watch one of my shows. You got to come watch one of my shows. He's like, So finally he shows up at the Funny Bone. This is 25 years ago. And I get off stage. I had a good show, I thought. And I come up and I says, what do you think? And he looks at me and goes, you know what? You're about as funny as a fucking rodeo clown. And I had no idea how to take that. I went, oh, thanks. But you're a rodeo clown. You're funny. So I think he meant it in a good way.
I was not as a rodeo clown, though.
You were funny as a clown?
When people ask, I think that's what prepared me for comedy, because when there's like new comics that think people are mean at shows, they don't ever know how mean people can be at rodeos.
I'm going to say,
like,
on
holy
a stage,
shit.
Have you ever been on a stage and had to run off and hide in a barrel so someone didn't gore you? So I guess it's not that
fucking bad.
I would have rodeos where I would come off and people would literally be like, you suck. And
what?
About
just
being a rodeo clown?
You have to have acts like at rodeos, it's not just talking. Like you have to make stuff blow up and do things.
What do you mean?
You're running from your life from a bull, and you're 2 Jews walking through a bar, and you're trying to.
One time, I finally had a good rodeo, and I was working for this company. I mean, I was starting to get better, and this guy comes up to me right before the second show. I'm feeling good, like I'm feeling real good, and he comes up to me and goes, "Hey, man, my parents came last night." I was like, "Oh, cool," and he worked for the same company. He goes, "My mom's convinced you're gay." This is like during the national anthem, like I'm just getting ready to go out there, and I turn, I'm like, "Well, I'm not." And he goes, "Well, she says you run, Femi." Well, I said, "I'm 300 pounds. It's July. Plus, I'm chafing."
Plus, he let the bull gore him in the ass. That's where when you stopped. And you let the bull.
I like that.
Oh, see, so your goring wasn't an accident. Your goring was on purpose.
No, I made $50 showing that picture last weekend.
Did you really?
Oh yeah.
What's the picture of?
Guthrie on my butt scar right after surgery.
He did get gored.
You did get gored.
Yeah, I got gored once.
Wow.
You want to see the picture?
I think I actually
want
to see
$50.
Willie does.
Stand-up comedy is a fucking piece of cake.
It's more fun.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. and then the stand-up comedy, I mean, at least there's some kind of rules. I mean, you can get an older comic like myself to tell you, okay, you need to slow down here, you need to punch this up. Where in rodeo, it's like, what older rodeo clowns? You don't get killed. It's, what do they tell you? So you got any advice? Yeah, don't get killed. Come over here and talk to One-Eyed Billy to ask him what he thinks. You know, four-toed Jimmy. You always got parts missing. That's what I'm trying to get. There's always parts missing.
I have all my parts.
Okay. Shit.
You have an extra butthole.
Just an extra butthole.
Yeah. They said you could fit a tennis ball in the extra hole.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
I never heard that part of the story.
Did I miss? Did I black out for a second?
No, in his gore hole.
The gore hole was right next to my butthole, and it was the set you could put a tennis ball in it.
In the gore hole.
Right. It was just in my butt cheek.
So that's not. It's you're one letter away from it being a glory hole. 2 letters. God, I'm not good at math or.
No shit. I don't know how it happened, but the guy in Des Moines, when they put me under, it was.
You had to do it in Des Moines?
It happened near Fort Dodge.
Oh, okay.
And then they flew me to Des Moines.
Well, of course, because they're laying there going, we don't know what to do with an extra butthole. Do we know a doctor can help a guy with extra? You got to go to Des Moines for that kind of work.
They told me
tennis ball in it.
They told me there was a 30% chance of having a colostomy bag when I woke up because they didn't know. They just couldn't tell what was going on. But one of the guys, when they were putting me under, goes, there's easier ways to make money with your butthole on the internet.
I'm just thinking of the EMTs down there. Put something in there. Put a pool ball. That'll work. Try a beach ball. That's too big.
But I mean,
goddamn, what kind of ball do we need? Try a softball. Nah, a little too big. What do we? Baseball? No. Tennis ball. There you go.
But you wouldn't want to deal with a little man's butthole, let alone you have me on a stretcher and they're like, what's wrong with him? Yeah. Peel him. Have you ever been gored on stage?
No.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to ask, what is your butt goring of comedy? What's your crazy?
The worst. See, I've always been lucky. No one's ever really come at me. And I don't know why, because maybe I'm not really I'm an offensive comic, but I talked about this on Todd and Tyler. I did a show about 30 years ago, Iowa City. I'm on stage. Before I get to the show, early I get there, there's a bunch of U-Haul guys, and there's a drunk guy his name's Bob. I can see around and think it's Bob. He's drunk already at 6:30, and he's all fucked up. And I'm like, Bobby, you know, the show's going to be in about an hour. You take it easy. Oh, we're going to have fun. We're going to have. So the show starts. He's really fucked up. And I'm talking, and Bobby starts yelling, and I got back at him, I hit him, and very funny stuff. And as the show's going on, I'm looking over at him, and I could see that he's so drunk the shit's taking longer to register to what I said. Mm-hmm. But I could just see he's starting to feed into his head. He's understanding, and now he's getting pissed off. I can see this vein growing in his forehead, and he's like, "Motherfucker, and he throws the table down and he comes at me.
Oh,
now,
shit.
at the show, in the front row, and I don't know if you guys know, there were the Banish brothers. But I think that's how they were Olympic wrestlers at Iowa. Ed Bannock and his brother. And they were in the front row at the show. And I knew who they were because I actually was having conversations. And so the Bannock brothers are there. And here comes Drunken Bob. And I got my mic stand like I'm going to fucking club this guy. And Bannock goes, just in the people, the place were going to stop him. And he says, let him go. So the guy comes up, and the Bannock brothers grab this guy. And it was like fucking WWF. They start fucking this guy up. And now I'm on the mic. I'm announcing him. He's got him in a half head Nelson. Oh, he slammed his head off and he beat this guy half to death. Now the funny thing is, after the show's over, Drunken Bob's taking pictures with these guys to say it's like the guy that got beat up by Tyson.
Yeah.
He's basically like, hey, look who I got beat up by. Yeah. So people like that. Yeah.
Wow.
But that was it. I mean, in my history of doing comedy, I've never really had a problem with anybody coming up and trying to fuck with me.
But you do a lot of crowd work.
Yeah.
But you're not, you said,
I'm
you're not insulting the
I'm
people
not,
or
you know what,
anything.
when people, like some people would try to say, I'm not an insult comic. That's not what I do at all.
He's not Bobby Slayton.
No. And I've worked with Bobby a bunch of times. But yeah, Bobby will go deep into you.
Lord.
He'll go right in you.
Yeah. What the fuck's wrong with you?
I did a few weeks in Vegas with Bobby. We worked a club together for like 2 or 3 weeks, and he was, he had a lot of personal problems, but very funny.
Oh yeah,
very funny. Yeah.
You mean you both do crowd work. You both have that thing, but yours is the friendly, fun side, and his is the fucking
exactly.
He's the pit bull of comedy.
Well, when I would go up, he would ask me. He said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "I'll just do my material." He says, "I don't care what you do." He says, "If you're going to pick on the crowd," and I said, "Well, if I do it, I'd pick it on a very gentle way, which I would do." And everybody was like, "Oh, he's fun. He just asked me what I do for a living." People. And then Bobby would come up and they're like, "Oh, he's mean." But so it was a good show, I thought. So.
That's a blind side to have you being all nice during your crowd work, then have a guy that's like, all right, asshole.
Exactly. Yeah. That was. We set him up to get hurt.
Good comic, bad comic.
Yeah. Exactly.
You had him wanting to talk, and then when he comes on, they're like, I didn't want to talk.
Yeah. Exactly. That's what it was. Yeah.
I was telling Colleen earlier, one of my favorite shows, I've worked here maybe like 7-8 years. One of my favorite shows was a Sunday night here. Mm-hmm. And you were the headliner, and there was maybe and it was early on when I started working here, and there was maybe like 45, 50 people here. It was
that's my crowd.
It was just this banquet back here.
Yeah.
And I remember seating it and coming in and hearing the numbers and being like, oh shit, this hasn't happened.
Yeah.
And this isn't bad on you.
Sure.
Because what you did was you had me bring up the lights in the back, and you went to every single table, and it was fucking amazing. It was hilarious. It was amazing.
Yeah.
You were here for that, Sean?
Oh, yeah.
It was awesome, Willie.
Well, the thing is, like I told my wife, I mean, I hate my own material. I mean, I hate hearing my voice when I do my material. So it's like, people say, why do you do crowd work? Do you enjoy it? I said, no, I just don't want to do my shit. I just want to do, and now I'm at the age where I can't even remember my shit. So it's like, all I can do is have a conversation. So that's what I do. I mean, and I try to keep it going. I try to keep people happy with it. So.
Yeah,
but it's conversation with jokes.
Yeah,
I mean, you have very joke-filled crowd work.
Yeah. Well, if you do it as long as I do, I'm lucky in the fact that if I ask somebody, what do you do for a living? And they say, I work at the railroad. I got railroad bits. Yeah. You work at your insurance guy. I got insurance. I mean, you do it long enough and you pile enough stuff together. The fun stuff is when you actually get something when you don't know, and then you can actually come up with something new. That's where the fun's at. But
yeah, because I remember, when I started here, you would come through and you would do maybe 20% crowd work, 40, 80% material, and then seeing that gradual shift away from that.
Yeah. That's the dementia kicking in. Is what that
I think
okay.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite bits I've heard from you is you had a real nice, soft story about coaching your daughter pitching.
Yes.
And then in the end, you end up screaming.
Well, and this is the truth. When she was a kid, I mean, like I said, she turned into such a great athlete. But when she was little, she would pitch, and I could remember playing with her in the, and I could almost cry because I mean she's my only child. But I can remember in the front yard playing, and I remember her first couple games, and she'd be on the mound, and as a dad, you just she's 8, and you're watching her. I can remember just looking at her, going, throw a fucking strike. And what makes it funny is it's so true. So true.
Yeah.
My wife would go, are you kidding me? I said, no, She sucks.
Not up there for not just standing there looking pretty.
Yeah.
Should
And
throw a fucking strike.
it must have worked too.
Yeah, I think it did. I mean, I always ask her about it. I said, were you embarrassed? Because I'm always embarrassed of you, but, you brought me to do different, thing. It's funny. In Des Moines, back in the days when the old club, they had we had Marge Takis, who was Untamed Shrews.
Yep.
Marge did all the murals for the old comedy club in Des Moines, and they were great. It was Seinfeld, it was Leno, it was Letterman, it was Richard Pryor, it was Ellen DeGeneres, it was Billy Crystal, it was Willie Farrell. They actually put one of me up. So when you would watch people walk around and go, there's Seinfeld, and then they come to me and they go, I don't know who that is. And it was cool because I was the last show at the old club before they went to the new club. And right after I got done doing my show, I actually went over and grabbed the thing and put it on my head and walked it out the door and brought it to my house. And I put it in the garage. And my wife said, what are we going to do with this? I don't know. I like it. I'm like, and my daughter, when she was little, after I would go do a pitching session in the front yard, she would go in the garage and throw balls at me. Beat the fuck out of it. So, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So how long? I know you've been coming here, ever since I've been here.
Oh, yeah. I mean, me and Kyle talked about it. I mean, ever since they started, which I think Kyle started in like 87.
Yeah.
So I've been coming here since then. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been a long time. And I mean, it's family here. I mean, I'd love, and I was just telling my in-laws are here with me this weekend, and we get on the elevator up, and I said, and I don't mean to be morbid, but I mean, I'm 66. Norm Macdonald, Bob Saget, Louis Gilbert, they're all my age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't want to be morbid, but I mean, every time I come to a club, sometimes I think, And not that I'm going to die, but is the club still? I mean, it's COVID times. Is the club's going to still? Right. So every time you walk in, you're like, is this going to be the last? And the last time I was here was a few years ago before COVID.
Yeah.
And even then, I was thinking to myself, am I still going to be doing this? Am I going to retire? What am I going to? So coming up this time, this means so much to me right now to be here to do this. And especially, what's cool is that we're doing this. This is something new.
Right.
After all these years I've been doing this, I'm doing something new right now. So, I mean, I couldn't be more happy, more blessed right at this moment. So,
yeah. And we're happy to have you. I mean, it's always good to see you on the schedule. I mean, we know we're always going to get at least a week with you. I love your family. Like, when I come in, I know I'm going to see you guys. It just makes it great. And then when you find young guys like this that, they understand the business and they work hard and, there's nothing better. It's like, these are like kids to me. These are like my own kids. So, yeah, it's cool. Yeah, I even Willie would do a bit with where you talk about his cell phone, how he didn't like these new phones. He wants the old phone with the flip phone.
Yes,
and,
exactly.
And there was one night where he had you forgot your phone or you didn't have it or whatever. And so I didn't have a flip phone, but I was on call for work, and I had a flip phone for work. So he took my work on call flip phone up on stage and used that as the fucking joke.
Because I'm like fucking Carrot Top, baby. I need my props.
Vegas pals.
That's right. Yeah.
Learn from the best.
Did you guys lift weights together?
We did. We can lift weights and we get Botox together. He's actually a really nice guy.
I've heard that.
I've heard that a lot.
Yeah, I've listened to him on podcasts, and he's interesting.
Yeah. You know what? You say it's so funny when you hear like comics like put down certain guy like Carrot Top, and it's like, seriously, you're gonna put this guy down? He's had a residency in Vegas for the last 15 years.
Multi.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. He's an idiot. You're doing well here, working this one nighter here in fucking Seward. So, good.
Well, what do you?
I actually did a one-nighter in Seward last week. So, actually wasn't bad. It was the Bottle Rocket joint or whatever. It's nice.
Oh yeah, I like that place.
I say Tyler's probably done
I've worked. I've worked that too.
Yeah.
But it's got cool balcony.
Yes,
it's a nice little. It's perfect for comedy.
It's nice.
It was Seward, Nebraska? Or?
Yeah.
Oh,
The Rocket Bottle
Rocket Brewery.
Yeah.
Huh.
An old man gave me a geode there after my set.
What?
Yeah.
There's just like rub it every night and put it in your underpants.
It was an old man that apparently is like the Uncle Bob or something of the place, and he'd come in with a box of geodes. He said, I gave these to all the kids at the breweries, and you had that joke, so here's a geode.
place it under your ball sack and keep it there for a month and mail it back to me.
I'm going to cuddle with him after this.
We're going to lay in a giant barrel, me and you.
We're going to hide from the bulls.
Sean, you were asking Willie something about a Christmas party or something before this?
So,
I didn't hear what you were talking about, but I thought...
so we can bring it up again.
Sure.
That video I watched of you and your cohorts.
It was Ben Hewlin, who is he is now the longest running amusement park act in the country. He's been doing Adventureland Park in Des Moines for 33 years. And
Holy
That's
shit.
why I recognize that name.
yeah, good friend of mine. And he used to do the Bone here back in the day, he worked the Bone. Magician, and now a hypnotist also. He's added that on. And the other guy was Ed Wilson, who is actually coming tomorrow night with Keith Murphy. Ed Wilson's the head meteorologist in Des Moines at the Channel 3. It's a NBC affiliate.
Okay.
He's been there 33 years. And Keith Murphy, they're coming tomorrow night with their wives. But I used to always, back in the day in Des Moines, what I would do whenever I would do a Christmas show, I'd always try to bring in different kind of acts. One time I brought in a black singing group. Instead of having a regular act, they would sing like Temptation songs. They'd bring me up. And then I had Bobby Hansen, who used to play for the Chicago Bulls, came up one time and introduced me. So I would always try to do something different. And Ed was the weather guy in Des Moines, and everybody knows him. And he would do that. And he did it for me a few times, and then he had to quit because I used to get him too drunk, and he would say fuck a lot, and so they made him quit. But he's actually started, since he's been 30 years in the business, he's actually started back doing it with me again in the last year or two. But the show was 1993, and it was right after we had the major floods in Iowa. And we did a show called The 12 Days of Christmas, but it was the 12 Days of Doers, because Ed and Ben are big scotch drinkers like myself. And we changed the words around. But what we did is the chorus was, and another shot of Doers whiskey, instead of a partridge in a pear tree. Shot. So we had 36 shots out there, but they were, obviously, you would think, they were mostly false. They were apple juice. Right. But I went and talked to him beforehand and said, make a few more scotch. And unbeknown to me, Ben did the same thing and Ed did the same thing. So there's 30 shots out of 36 are actual scotch. And if you watch the thing, we're starting to shoot them. And by the sixth one, I'm throwing my shoulder, and fucking Ed drank all of them. And had to go to the hospital for alcohol poisoning.
Shit.
It was wonderful. And a lot of fun. So those are the good days. Wow.
Where can you see that? Is it on like YouTube? Or?
Yeah, it was on. We put it on Facebook, but if you YouTube Willie Farrell, Ben Hewlin, Ed Wilson, it'll show up.
It's hilarious.
It's just losing our minds.
I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Colleen, when she was taking her pictures out earlier, she was talking about the Christmas parties she used to throw at the old club.
Oh, it was the best. It was, it was actually to raise money for a cause, and I can't remember exactly what it was, but she would always have 10 comics, and they were all good comics. It was Mark Gross and Craig Peters and Carl Banks and all these headliners, and I always loved Kyle for that because I was always the closer. So I like the fact that she always said, "No, we'll let you bring it home," and that made me feel good. But there were some of the best times, some of the best comics too, and we would party. I'd love to see her bring it back. I would do it again.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was. I mean, it was really a fun, festive, and back in the old days, that used to be a thing where you would go to a club like Des Moines or Omaha, and you would come in here, and all of a sudden you'd see 5 or 6 headlining comics just hanging out, and that would the jokes and everything were just nuts. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure.
I think Laughs for Life is kind of the closest we get to having all of the headliner, or like Nick and Richard and
sure.
Local,
the local heavy hitters
exactly.
together.
Yeah. That was a good time.
I feel like our big Christmas season is always New Year's. We don't have like a lot. It's not the 10 comics like you used to have, but it's always a big deal. They always want everybody on working that night. And kind of try to make it like a because this is a family, they try to make it like a family thing for us that work here.
I got to tell you, I love what's going on in comedy now. All these new, like in Des Moines, they've got another smaller comedy club. And I know they do it here where you got on the Facebook, they got the Omaha comedy scene. there's so many younger comics out there, and Colleen's been wonderful, just, blessing him and let him do other things. But, it's kind of cool to see so many different, because for a period of time, there was hardly any comedy, after a while, I was like, is this going to stop? Are there going to be comedy clubs anymore? And now it's like, no, I think there's going to be a lot of comedy clubs, and I think it's a cool thing. And it's cool to watch a guy like you from, just getting started and moving on, and now you're actually doing it. Yeah.
Well, and it used to be, I feel like, when I was young, that there was a handful of guys that would have comedy specials on TV, and now tons of people. That's blown up big time. It used to be a few people that were able to get that.
The only thing that kind of bugs me is that the guys that you see that you think, but then you get like a TikTok guy or whatever.
Yeah.
You get these guys that haven't put in the time, but yet they've got the followers, so it's a whole different. And some of them might be good. I don't follow it, but I mean, I can't imagine if you're only doing this for 2 years that you think you got what it takes, the chops to do it. But who knows?
We see them come through here a lot, and it's two extremes. We've had a couple guys come through. Noel Miller that
okay, I don't know, I don't even know who that is, but he must be good.
He's a comic, he was a comic I think before he made it big on YouTube and stuff, and you can tell when he's on stage that he's a comic.
He's actually got the chops.
Where there's other guys that come through where they've only done YouTube, and that's all they're good at, and it's just a money grab to me. Because they don't have the chops to sustain this tour for a very long time. It's a one and done. We have people walk out on their shows that came just because they know them, but here it's different than watching them on YouTube.
It's amazing what fame will do. I mean, the people that will just come out to say, okay, this guy's famous, I want to just look at him. I mean,
Like a Schmishmatan.
Who?
Chris Kattan.
He did like a golf tournament over here last year or something.
Tammy was awesome, though.
Ooh. Oh, Trailer Park Tammy?
Yes.
She came to Des Moines. I haven't seen her, but I heard she's good.
Super nice.
Yeah.
Dude, her fans were like a wrestling crowd.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I mean, it was the loudest crowd I've ever heard.
And we only had 200 people because we weren't full capacity.
Oh, sure,
yet. And it was so loud. I mean, like my ears were ringing.
That's cool. I mean, I like that. I mean, if you could have a following and they actually know what you're all about and they're with you all the time. I learned a long time ago in this business that, what, it doesn't matter what you like. The people out there, if they like what they're seeing, then that's the answer right there.
That's right.
I wish so many more comics would understand that.
Yeah, I mean,
that it's for them.
I get so tired of people being comedy police and this should be this and I don't. What? Funny's funny. If you don't like a prop act, I don't care if you don't like them. If the people like them, that's good. If they're ventriloquists, you know what I mean? My idea is if what you're doing is entertaining to them, if you're spinning fucking dishes and they like it, that's fine.
Yep.
You're doing what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
I learned that lesson here early on. We had, I don't know if he goes by the name anymore, but it was Midnight Swinger. I forget.
Oh,
I think you know the Swinger. Yeah.
Sure,
He kills.
Yeah,
he absolutely slaughters.
And there's comics I know that hate him.
Yeah.
And right away, I was one of those. I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
Yeah.
It's sitting in the back. But as I was taking it all in, all these people up here were standing up.
Sure.
He's throwing guitar picks. He doesn't even play guitar. And they're catching them.
Yeah.
And in my head, I'm like, oh. Well, these people love this shit, so whatever. Go get it, buddy. It's not for me, but like these people are loving it, and so
that's
I
the way
learned
it
that
should
lesson
be.
early on here.
I worked a weekend with him, and he's nice. He crushes.
Super nice guy.
And
David's a great guy.
I think he goes by what, Mr. Showtime
Something
now?
like that. It's something different now. Yeah.
Mr. Las Vegas or something. And I love David, but he's Mr. Las Vegas, and I don't think he's ever worked in Las Vegas. That's all right, man. It's a persona. Like he's a good kid.
Have that character and commit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I think there's a little something for everybody. You know what I mean? Just stay in your lane and try to do the best you can.
Yeah, I mean, we see that all the time where it's like, I don't get it. This isn't my comic, but it's not for me. It's not. I'm not their target audience. Okay, cool, I get it.
Yeah.
Or even if I was their target audience, it's not resonating with me. I'll do my shift. I'll get out of here, and next week go see somebody else.
I tell you what, that's the hardest thing in comedy to do, and to tell these young guys is that. You can't be a comic for everybody. I mean, you need to just find your lane that you're good at and stay at. And there's going to be times when the crowd don't get you. And I remember Jake Johansson told me this a long time ago. I said, what about if you go to a place and they just they're not your crowd? And he said, don't go there. Just, you know what I mean? Just,
yeah.
I mean, because I saw Kinnison, I saw Gilbert Gottfried back when I was younger. I saw him walk people all the time. But, you know, there'd be 200 people and Gottfried would walk 100 of them. But the 100 that stayed loved him. And they were going to follow him to where we went.
Yeah.
And then that 100 turned into 200, and that turned into 3. And that's what it is. You got to be true to what you think is funny. Stay in that lane, and hopefully, if in this day and age, just try to find your crowd or let them find you. However that works, and then that's the key. That's all. That's all you can do. Yeah.
That's kind of like Rob Schneider
Yeah.
was here. I mean, he walked a ton of people every show that I was at, but there were a bunch of people that really loved him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's all you can do. I mean, you know, and if you're just good at marketing, I mean, this business, it's show business. I think 30% show, 70% business. If you can understand how to finagle that and get the right people to come, you're going to be successful. You know, my thing is I've never understood the business. I understood the show. I know what I bring to the table, and there's people that love what I do, and there's a lot of people that probably just think, okay, whatever. So I don't get the big, but you know, if I ever did back in the day, go out and do it the right way, I think I could have probably had a big following. I just never really went to that before. My problem is I've always been too happy in my life.
Yeah.
I just never really, never strived.
Did you ever make like a special or get on TV or do anything like that?
I was on Showtime. I did a thing called the Godfathers of Comedy.
Oh, that's right.
I was on Comedy Central a couple times. I did A&E, Evening at the Improv, Comedy on the Road, that kind of stuff. But I mean, I was never driven. I always enjoyed doing my corporate stuff. And I got to be honest with you. When people you talk about fame and fortune, I would take the fortune. I mean, most comics would take fame. That's what they live to do, is to be. Look at me.
Right.
And with me, it's never been, I just want to be happy. I don't want to be famous. I don't care to be famous. If nobody knows who I am, it doesn't matter to me. I just want to be able to do the things I want to do, hang out with my friends and do my stuff. I do this because I seem to have a knack for it.
Yeah.
And look at how many of them end up unhappy.
Oh God,
drunk and high in a motel room,
honest
sad.
To God,
and
I think that's the reason I've ended up like I am, because I've sat with enough comics that were getting to the point of fame, and they were consumed by it to where they would lose their way. And my life is just, my life's normal. I mean, I got a wife, I got a daughter, I got 2 dogs.
Live in Des Moines?
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm a happy guy. I sometimes I feel like I should apologize about it, but I enjoy it. I enjoy where I'm at.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I still think that, I'm not going to knock you out of your seats, but I think I still do an okay job on stage. I think that's I'd still bring something to the table.
Oh yeah.
you can't go anywhere I haven't been much out of the Midwest.
Yeah.
But
You don't say?
No, you?
but I can't go anywhere in the Midwest without somebody saying your name. That Willie Farrell. Oh, Willie Farrell.
Fucker owes me money. No, I like I said, I just want to be happy and just, I'm just trying to ride out in the sunset, being a nice guy and enjoying it. And I'm enjoying this more now. It's crazy. I enjoy it more now than I did when I was younger, because I guess I'm starting to stop and smell the roses. But this is what I'm doing right now. This is great. This is a young kid. I like this kid. I love watching him work. This is nice.
Well, and you even have, I don't know how long you've been doing it, but you talk about on stage, you're like, what am I going to do at this age? Like, am I going to get another job? He's like, where can I go where I work for an hour a day and I can drink while I'm working?
Exactly.
He's like, there's no other place that I can get a job doing this. So I guess I'll keep doing this.
I get to put on my little suit. Like I'm sometimes I'm like a little girl at prom. I put on my little suit. I'm so happy. I got my cufflinks, and I get to go on stage for an hour and say, look at me, and have my drinks, and then I get to leave. So I'm happy.
And you always stick to that hour. You're like, I think you're the only one in the business that gets a 1 minute light. And as soon as I hit you with that light, boom, you're done.
My wife calls me the reluctant comic. I'm the only guy that does not want to be on stage. I like stage, but I don't really need it. So I just want to get. It's so funny when people come and say, "We got a guest spot. You're going to be cut 5 minutes." I'm like, give him 5 more. Give me out the time. Cut me 10 minutes. How about if I just come at the end and wave at everybody, and then we leave, call it a night. As long as they see my suit, then I'm good.
Yeah,
Last year I did a guest spot with you, and then you said you want to stay, you want to do more of the rest of the
Exactly.
weekend. Colleen's like, you just get the one, and you're like, no,
funny.
let
Give
him
more
up
time.
there.
Give him more time. Yes.
And I've heard you say that too. Where you're like, do 15. I don't care.
I do not care at all.
He's always like, how long do I have to do?
Exactly. You've heard me say that many times.
absolutely.
How many times have I came back there and said, listen, the sooner you can give me the light,
Yeah.
the better.
Like, what time is it? How long
That
do I
is
have to
so
do?
much better though than people going, Jesus Christ, this guy's been up here an hour
Yeah.
and 40
Mhm.
minutes.
Oh, no.
You know, those people
know
that
what?
just won't get off.
Here's the weird thing. Think about your favorite comic in the whole world. Mine's Richard Pryor.
Yeah.
I love Pryor. You know what? I don't need him more than an hour, ever.
Yeah.
No.
I don't. So there's nobody else out there that I need for an hour and a half.
Right.
I mean, I don't. I mean,
I could do an hour 15.
Yeah.
But yeah.
that's it. You know, and there's been times at the Funny Bone where I'll go in and say, how was so-and-so? I don't want to mention any names. But say, he did 2 hours.
Yep.
Really? God damn.
Oh, yeah. We mention names here when they go too long.
I used to love Ralphie May, but Ralphie would go on and on
God, he
sometimes. Yeah.
would.
Yeah.
He was a
And I just found it
sweetheart.
amazing for the fact that as big as he was, that he wanted to go on and on. You would think he'd want to get off stage and lay down or something.
Yeah.
I mean, rest in peace, but he was the fattest
Oh,
guy
he
I've
was
ever seen in my
huge.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't even believe that he walked up those stairs when he was
I
here
know.
last.
He
It
has
was- it wasn't easy.
astonishingly good-looking wife.
Oh, yeah.
She was smoking hot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, but he was so good for budding comics.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he spent the time and talked with comics that wanted to push it to the next level.
Yeah.
I mean, he was really good.
Well, and he was one of those guys, and I'm not one of those guys. I enjoy what I do. I mean, I like the comedy, but some people are just, I mean, he was born to do this, and that's what he wanted to do. And like you said, he's the guy. Like when I get off stage after I'm done, I want to maybe go shopping, go to a movie, go eat. The last thing I want to do is sit and talk comedy, where a guy like him would just sit there with you and let's talk. So, the world needs guys like him.
Yeah.
Young guys like him need guys like him. Yeah.
And I'm kind of like, I like to go fish. I like to have, like, I'm a comic, but I get my stuff from doing other things. Like, I don't want to constantly be
they'd say,
comedy.
Tyler, what do you want to do? You know what I like to do is put on some pants with big suspenders and piss off a bull and see if I can have him chase me around a tree and
Try to fit in a barrel.
try to see how many assholes I can get. I really, maybe I want to see the pictures, but what's it look like now? What's your actual scar look like now?
I only feel it, but I imagine it feels like what, like on the movies where they have the mountain man with the bear scar.
Yeah.
If it's got like smooth parts.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
You got a girlfriend or anything?
Yeah.
That she sees.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
She's
She's very familiar with
you
that
don't-
butt scar.
you don't want to know what she's done with it.
Height of passion.
She's into B play.
Can I touch it? Touch it, babe. Touch it. Who's your rodeo clown? Start using that. Who's your rodeo clown?
She's fun.
Oh shit!
So, I definitely want to make sure that we hit on this topic with you for sure.
Sure.
Because I know that you were good friends with him, and you worked with him and knew very highly of him. Jay Madison Hat.
That was my boy. I knew Jay when he was Jet Monk. I remember
Yep.
when he was a stand-up comic, and funny. I mean, he was rock and roll. Even back then, he partied way too hard, way too hard. And when he told me he was going to get hypnotized, I said, all right. And then after you watch him, it was like, oh, this is something so fucking special. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like when you saw Kinnison for the first time, or so, and you saw they're going a different way than I thought you could do this. For the years back when I grew up at the Funny Bone, we had Gary Conrad. We'd have these hypnotists in, and they would do the same kind of. It's like anytime you have a hypnotist, they do the same. And then Jay would come out, and then it was like, oh fuck, this is wrong. Just
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
this is wrong. But yeah, I mean, he was amazing, and It's so funny. The last time I talked to Jay, my ex-wife she still comes in here. You've seen her.
Oh, yeah.
She's out of her mind.
Oh, it's very out of her mind.
She drives everybody nuts.
Uh-huh.
And she's always dropped. I mean, understand the fact, I've been married 27 years, and she's been married as long as me. This poor bastard that she brings around.
He seems like he's kind of just along for the ride.
Yeah, I look at him all the time. I say, why don't you just kill yourself? Get out of this. The next life's got to be better.
He actually got arrested the last time I saw her.
Here?
Yeah.
What did he get arrested for?
They took off on their tab.
Wow. Oh, God damn. So here's what happened. Here's the story. I'm in Des Moines, and Jay and Colleen call me.
Yep.
And Jay says, Willie, I don't know what to tell you. I said, I feel bad. He says, I had your ex-wife kicked out of the show. I said, I don't give a fuck. He said, no, I feel just bad that I did that. I said, no, God damn. I said, did you get kicked out for life? He goes, no, just the show. And I said, well, I wish you would have put a for life thing in there because I don't want to come around. So we laughed about it, right?
Yeah.
He died like 2 weeks later.
Wow.
She put some kind of fucking hex on him. She was a witch. I knew she was a witch. So I think she had him killed, or she killed him. You know, I don't know if she did like a snake thing and the voodoo and something, dropped dead at a Walmart. That's not a good way to die.
Yeah,
So-
we were both working that night, and she was sitting like right over there by the stage,
Yeah.
and she just wouldn't shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You need to get out of here."
Yeah,
And
and it's and it was and afterwards when we did his, you were at the memorial, Jay. That was just wonderful.
You did a great job as the host of
well,
that,
I mean,
keeping that moving, and
Yeah.
and you said some wonderful things about him in the beginning, and it was awesome having you there to facilitate. through all of
I
that.
loved him, and he was so original. I mean, there's nothing better than when you see somebody and you go, God damn, you've taken a new path that no one's ever seen before, and that's what he did, man. Too bad he's gone.
Yeah. It's just, we talked about it last week. We had Sean Gannant and Augie Smith, and both had medicine hat stories, and
he was a wonderful guy. Gone too soon, but you say gone too soon, but if you watch the way he lived, how did he live that long?
Shit.
Gone too soon. Shit, he lived 10 years longer than we thought he would.
Yeah, that ain't no lie.
Yeah.
I mean, and the other kicking the balls is that he had been trying. He had like the last year or so, year and a half. He'd been trying to take care of himself.
Yeah.
Like he cut back.
And that's what always fucking kills you.
Yeah.
That's it. When people say, I need to cut. No, you don't. Stay the course.
Yeah.
When you change, it's always like when a guy tries to start losing weight and shit, and then he dies.
Yeah.
No, stay the same.
Yeah.
My favorite story is Pete Lee's story about him, where he talks about how people are like, "Oh, you're working with medicine, you're gonna do cocaine."
Yeah.
And then he shows up with his minivan and his kid and takes him to the zoo, and they have that. And he's like, "Oh,
Well, who recently died was D-Bob. D-Bob
I
used
saw
to.
that. Jay's oldest daughter had posted that on Facebook, and it happened last year.
Yeah,
I had
and
no
for people
idea.
that don't know on the podcast here, D-Bob was best friends with Rudy. And if you ever you ever seen the movie Rudy, that the guy Jon Favreau was in. It's so funny because one time me and Pauline back in the day, I was working the South Bend Funny Bone, and D-Bob took us over to Rudy's house, and Rudy wasn't there.
Really?
And so we go in the house, and he had a phone booth, and in the phone booth, anybody that went in there took a Sharpie and would write their name. They would write your autograph on it. So D-Bob goes, go in there and look at the phone booth, and put your name on there. So me and Paul are there, and so I'm looking at the phone booth, and there was one spot where there wasn't a bunch of names on there. It just said Joe Montana.
Oh.
And I wrote my name over his. Yeah. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, because D-Bob would go out on the road with
Yeah.
Pat.
Yeah, he was supposed to keep him clean.
Yeah.
And D-Bob was worse than him.
Oh,
so
God, some
I
of the times he was.
don't think that went well.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
And so he was friends with Rudy, and Jay would always he would tell us the stories up on stage sometime, but he would be like, whenever D-Bob and Rudy get together, like they're a bunch of fucking schoolgirls, giggling and acting stupid, and he's like, it's so sickening.
Oh yeah, god damn.
And I remember the first time when Jay brought D-Bob here, and I've been here for several years, and so I go up to him and Jay were sitting out at the bar, and I said, hey, would you like a light? And Jay just starts laughing. I was like, what? He goes, the fucking Navy calls this guy and sets their watch to his set. That's how it is. And I was like, okay. So I didn't give him a light. And then I found out, his set is always exactly the same length every time.
There's certain people that can do that. I don't even know how. There used to be a comic named John Fox. You ever heard of John Fox? He was a legend back in the day. He was a complete. He's dead now, but he's a complete drug addict, alcoholic. And this guy would get so drunk and so high before the show, just lines of coke and everything. And you look at him thinking, this guy, I think he's going to die before the show. And once the light would hit, he would do his act. And you could literally, you could put it on a timer. Okay, at 15 minutes and 12 seconds, he's going to say the word a thug or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was that. He trained himself to just do the act without him even being present. And,
Probably because he was out of his mind so much that he just kind of started talking and doing it.
And that's like me on stage going, what am I going to do next? Who's that over there in the corner? Is that guy bald? I don't even know what I'm doing.
Bert Kreischer did that one time for his call into sick work. He must have got hammered the night before, surprise, and I was doing sound. He came in, and I thought he was going to die in the sound booth back there before. He was shaking. He's like, I don't feel good. And the second he hit that stage, it was
Isn't that amazing? Some people that can do that.
I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
So I kept being like, are you okay, man? Do you need water? What do you? And he's like, nope. And he went up, and he just he killed, and it was like he drank orange juice all day. It was crazy.
Yeah, something else does come. I don't know if you feel that, but there's me, and then there's a stage me where, it's like when I'm off stage and people say, go around and work the room, and I'm not good. I can't, but on stage I can. Like people always say to me, how do you remember all the people's names? I don't know. Because of off stage, I don't know anybody's name.
Yeah.
But on stage, it's for some reason all the names come to me. So it's, it must be some kind of muscle you work in.
So if you had to do the same thing that you did on stage, but pre-show and going around other tables,
I don't know fucking nobody, and I wouldn't be clever or nothing. I just okay, bye.
Who? All right.
Yeah.
That's the stage persona that is Willie Farrell.
Yeah, I guess we're gonna go with that. Yeah.
Let's see. Well, we're getting about to an hour, and I know Colleen told us we had to keep a tight hour because her and your wife are waiting over at the bar for you.
Yeah, my wife's up there right now just looking at something. My wife works. My wife sells. Jen,
she's back there.
Wave at everybody.
Hi. I didn't know she was back there.
Oh, yeah. She's like an assassin. You never know when she's around. That's the scary thing. You turn around, there she is.
Does that happen at home a lot, too?
Oh, yeah. My little Aquafina up there. And she give me the finger right.
Yeah.
She loves
I'm sure you see that a lot too.
27 years. That's what I get.
That's awesome.
Well, we really appreciate you doing this with us. You have family in town and everything. You didn't have to do this at all.
We got my in-laws, and then we got a bunch of people coming tomorrow. But no, God, can I tell you, I've been looking forward to doing this. It's weird because there was a part of me a while back that wanted to ask you guys to do this, and I didn't. But I was hoping that when I came here, I kept on thinking, oh, please let me do this. And I'm so glad I did. And thank you for inviting me.
Thank you.
And we thank you. And I'm glad it worked out because the problem that we've been having is we usually record on Sundays because that works out well for everybody. But when the comics are here, they're only here Friday and Saturday. And you get 2 shows Friday, 2 shows Saturday. Who knows when you come in? Maybe you come in Thursday night late. Maybe you come in Friday morning. And so it just doesn't work out. And then you do your 2 shows Saturday, and then you're probably flying out early on Sunday, or you're leaving early in the morning. So it just doesn't work out. So while it's not good for the club that we're only having these 1 show Fridays, it's working out great for us.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Perfect.
I'm very happy to be a part of this. I'm happy that Tyler got to do it with me.
Yeah, I was pumped.
He was a door guy for a while. That's why he gets to be on here. So.
Yeah, he door guyed for how long were you door guy? About 6 months.
Yeah, something like that. And then I just got pulled off the schedule.
You got grandfather
Daisy.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
I might have thrown your paperwork away recently.
Oh yeah, he said he was playing HR and throwing old paperwork away and saw you.
That's kind of cool because you talk about like an old school thing to do. Like when you think about like L.A., like David Letterman, Jay Leno were door guys.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it's kind of cool that a guy in the Midwest is a door guy and now becomes a comic. It probably doesn't happen very often.
I would never have done it if I wasn't already in.
Yeah.
Because in rodeo, I did that stuff before I was in, and then I was always that.
Yeah.
I would be scared of being a door guy and then being like, let me
How
get,
dare you?
Let's be honest, you guys.
Colleen,
Don't you?
could I have a
When you talking
may
to
I have
him,
a crumb?
he's a rodeo guy. It's almost like because I don't know any. Do you know any rodeo guys? It's almost like talking to a guy that's in porn. It really is. It's like
You're right.
Nobody knows what his life is. His life is like, what is it like to be a rodeo guy?
Yeah.
You show up in a town and do you get a look at the bull first before anything happens, or
Like porn, but only fat girls.
Hey, there's a whole category for that on Pornhub.
like porn because there's two assholes. There we go.
I think that's a good wrap up.
Yeah. Willie, we love you, man. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you
I love
enough.
you too.
Thanks everybody for listening.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Follow us on all the socials. Email doorguyspod@yahoo.com.
Yep.
And
Follow Willie's socials.
Yeah, I have none.
I'll fact share pictures.
Thank you. Fax them. Just
Later.
mail them to me.
Thanks,
Later on, everybody.